Aye, it's by popular demand, pimp. I need a fix, man. They demanding a remix, man.
A remix, pimp.
It's confirmed like a Don King bird.
Yeah.
You got your boy 40. You got Kanye West.
Ice Cube.
You got Gang. Tell me when to go. Tell me when to go. Tell me when to go. Tell me when.
Good morning. Good morning. How is everyone today? My name is Mecca McCheese. Thank you for joining us. Got an interesting show today, and we're going to be talking to somebody outside of our little comicsgate sphere and just get an outsider's perspective on a lot of things going on. And I'll just go ahead and bring her on stream right now. This is a close personal friend of mine, and she's got some interesting things cooking up herself, but she was kind enough to give us her time. So welcome to the show, Becca. Becca, how are you this morning?
Pretty tired, still waking up.
Good. Thank you for joining us. Becca is a close friend of mine. We've known each other for a couple of years now, and I kind of rant at her as often as I can about things that she most of the time usually does not understand. So, have you ever heard of Comicsgate before?
No.
Do you know what a comic book is? Let's start
Yes.
with that baseline. Yeah. I think a couple weeks ago we were talking, or maybe it was a couple months ago now, you wanted to go through the entirety of the MCU.
Yeah, I did.
So you got a little familiarity with nerd culture, with comic books, superheroes, that kind of thing. Let me ask you this for our audience: what is Batman's real name?
I don't know. I didn't do DC. I did Marvel.
you more Marvel. Okay, yeah. Let me ask you that. What is Iron Man's alias? What is his real name?
Tony Stark.
Tony Stark. All right. There you go. Okay, we got some fans of you already in the chat. Purple hair. Everyone loves the purple hair. Purple hair don't care. Gotham Knight says, very cute kiss. So you stay in line there, Gotham Knight. You stay in line. No, nobody purrs out here. This is a good friend of mine. So you obviously have some kind of a little bit of awareness of superheroes, and you walk into a movie theater, you understand that this all started with funny books, basically. Is that fair to say?
Sure.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite MCU film?
Probably the second Iron Man.
The second Iron Man? That's
Yeah.
an odd choice.
I know.
Oh, that's interesting. So, let's see. So you got a little understanding of stuff. Have you ever read a comic book? They kind of look like this, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while, definitely.
Yeah, not something you do all the time.
No.
And have you ever backed any kind of, shall we say, indie-funded comic book or anything that you didn't buy in a store?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, she sounds enthusiastic there. Well, I think that's important to note because Becca is the average person. You know, she's probably seen all the Marvel Comics movies in theaters, and we were just talking about her marathon she went on. So I would say she's a normal person and the average fan of superheroes, comic book stuff, and all that kind of thing. So what I'm trying to do here today and this morning is I want to get her perspective as an outsider on some of the things. And we're going to be going over a couple clips here. Everyone knows Preston Poulter had his amateur porn filmography exposed and used against him this week by people who are also trying to sell indie comic books. And I want to get Becca's perspective on how she feels about that. What's the line? Is there a line? And things like that. And see, hey, good morning, Timothy Best. None of us are normal. Yeah, that's a good point. Gotham Knight and MK Geiger, thanks for coming. Team Cap or Team Iron Man? Do you have a preference, Becca?
Iron Man.
Iron Man. Okay, there you go. So I got a couple clips loaded up, and I'm gonna be sharing the story. But for the last week, we've all, whether we're Comicsgate, whether we're fans of Ethan Van Sciver, who is a central figure on all this, we've all been following the story of Preston Poulter's conflict with him. Preston Poulter, somebody that wanted to get on Ethan Van Sciver's show and talk to him for a long time. And he didn't get on. and there's been conflict, to say the least. This resulted in last week, Ethan Van Sciver and crew found out he had a porn star career, basically. He was, he's got stuff on everywhere you can find it. Ethan Van Sciver and his clown crew, they went on live streams. They mocked this man. They humiliated this man. And there's even somebody out there who tried to, how do you say it? Tried to bring his ex-wife into it. So we're going to start with all that. And good morning, Eric Hawkins. We got 13 people in the chat. We're going to, Preston, if you're in the audience, I'm going to go over a clip from Tug that has a little bit of your video going on. And if this is sensitive to you, I'm just giving you a warning. So, yeah, it's all been taken down. That's good. Glad to hear it. So I'm going to play you this clip, Becca. And audience, give me a 1 if the sound is playing. This is this is a clip from that umbrella guy. Good morning, Phil. Good morning. And Eric Hawkins, congratulations on wrapping up your campaign. I, of course, forgot to back it. But works for me because I want to stay on Indiegogo. I already have an account on there. So I'm going to be backing that real soon. So I'm going to play this clip here from this guy's known as that umbrella guy. He's been very antagonistic, and he's been doing a victory lap on Preston Poulter, who's the man of the hour right now. So I'm going to play this. Yeah, Gotham Knight. There you go. Let me get some trains in the chat.
15 hours the first day.
Oh,
I took off pretty much all day yesterday, and I talked about it some today, but I'm going to hang out with the family.
Can you hear that, Becca?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's a little quiet for me.
It's a little quiet, but I can still hear it.
All right. So this is the man himself. This guy, that umbrella guy, has Preston's pornography up there, and he's commenting on it basically.
After I make fun of this, I was not going to make fun of this at all. Somebody DM'd it to me. I could not stop. Making fun of it. But
okay.
So right there, he's saying I could not stop making fun of this. The reason I have this clip specifically is he's also selling his children's book while he's making fun of Preston. Yeah, I don't know why it's so quiet, guys, but yeah, Tony Sizzle, thanks for coming. Rumble Terrier, thank you, sir. Yeah, I'm afraid I can't do anything about the volume. That's just the nature of the what it is.
Over $36,000 so far in the other campaign.
But basically, this clip right here, he's making fun of him. And I just want to get your perspective on that. So first of all, how do you feel about people fighting each other and using pornography to sort of embarrass each other? What's your take on that, Becca?
Well, I guess, I mean, any kind of bullying is wrong. It doesn't really matter if there's porn involved or not, but
like, especially when you're both selling comic books and you're competing in this way, is this something you'd ever expect out of, say?
No, that's pretty inappropriate. I mean, if it's just like a competition on their comics,
yeah,
I don't understand why he would use like his work essentially against him.
Right. Well, I'm going to play devil's advocate for their side for a second. Their justification has been that the man in this photo, Preston Poulter, he was antagonistic towards their group. And do you feel like that warrants humiliating somebody in the public sphere?
Well, is he actually humiliated? Because I mean, he's in the porn industry, so it's already been posted, right?
Yeah. Okay, that's a fair question. His pornography, his filmography has been out there. It's not something he ever used to represent his comic books. It's not ever something that was ever brought up until last week. And the porn in question was filmed, I think, over 10 years ago or so. And it's something that he has not embraced as something he's going to continue to do. So he basically wanted to, yeah, sorry about the slurping, guys. It's basically something he wanted to move past, I guess you could say.
Well,
so, yeah, if that gives you any context.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really inappropriate that they would use that against him. And I think it definitely it threw me off when he said in the video, when he commented saying like that he just couldn't help himself or he couldn't stop. Like,
Right.
what do you mean? Somebody sends you a video, you have a choice of like if you want to do what you're doing right now or not, and you made the choice to do it. So you could have stopped. You had the choice, but you didn't.
Yeah. So, for example, let's say that you had somebody. I'm sorry about the slurping, guys. Rumble Terrier says, "My take. It has nothing to do with how he markets his books, or treats his customers." Do you agree with that, Becca?
Yeah, totally. That's exactly what I'm saying. Is like, it shows what kind of person he is. Besides all of the professionalism, it's like he just wanted to target someone. He had the choice to not and ignore whatever antagonizing he was getting from this Preston guy, but he didn't. He egged it on.
Yeah, and that's Preston Poulter of Pocket Jacks Comics Mods. If you're in here, go ahead and post a link to his campaigns. He's got White Lily, Guinevere, and the Divinity Factory. Just to take his side, you know, I'm a personal friend. Well, not personal. I'm a Twitter friend of Preston's, and you know, I'm just trying to support, you know, him as best as I can. I think he needs a lot of support, and these guys that are on the other side making fun of him, I think the best thing we could do is to call them out for their lack of humanity. I'd say at this point. I got some more stuff.
He doesn't have a lot of support.
He does on our side, and I'm leading the charge on that. You know, we've been arguing with the other side, the old comicsgate side, they called it, and comicsgate as a movement has decided to just dance all over this man's grave, so to speak. And guys in the chat, if you could at me right now or send me DMs or anything of some specific examples we could show B Wheelie. That's your old handle. If we could show anybody, if we could show some more clips to Becca. I don't have as many as I'd like right now to show her for examples, but I think she's getting the picture of it. Let's see. Here's another screenshot. Preston in this stream was just kind of dealing with a lot of the fallout from this, hanging out with some friends, and the guy that we just listened to, the guy that I was playing over here that had the clip, allegedly his wife, this horse-faced Vicky is Preston's mom person, went into their chat to antagonize them, and they wanted this whole group to end their stream, and they were threatening to bring his daughter into this, basically. And you know, Preston's raised the daughter. She's according to him, she's turned out really great with his ex-wife, stuff like that. So credit to Preston for all that. I'll talk about his wife a little bit. Here's some DMs that, and I bring this up right now because the guy that he was making fun of for being a cuckold and having all these sexual things going on, his own wife allegedly exchanged dick pictures with other men on the internet. So he's in fact a cuckold himself. And his whole point against Preston was that Preston called somebody a cuckold once, and therefore he is a hypocrite. So we're seeing the hypocrisy on the same side. Preston's not out there dancing on anyone's grave, humiliating them through their life choices behind the scenes. But I interrupted you. What were you going to say?
I don't remember.
Sorry, I have a bit of a bad habit of monologuing and stuff. Let me see. So I think we got some DMs coming in with stuff. So let me check that. Nope, nothing yet. So let me see if I could find the clip that I wanted to show. Let me check here. So just hearing all this stuff, is this pretty crazy? Like all these people in indie comics, do you feel like any of that stuff that we just talked about was necessary?
I think it really just goes to show that a lot of these people will say anything behind a screen, and that they're kind of like this guy, Umbrella Dude or whatever. Yeah. He obviously has some sort of following for comic books, children's comic books, I guess he's trying to advertise. And so I think that like small amount of power obviously kind of gets to his head, and he thinks he can just do or say whatever he wants. But I just wonder if he would actually say something like that to this Preston guy in person, or if he's only doing that because it's over a screen and he has people who agree with him. Like, is he making the right like decision?
Do you think that seeing this, so you're completely outside of this. I'm going to show you that Umbrella Guys project. This is called Another Case for the Littlest Umbrella. This is his self-insert character right here. He has a little catchphrase, and this is a self-insert of him and his daughter. It's based on stories that she would tell him about the H.P. Lovecraft mythos. So this is somebody who's selling a comic book. He's made $61,000 so far. 850 people backed this guy. Do you see? So you've never heard of this stuff before. You can buy this man's comic book for $25. But after seeing the clip, would you even consider it?
No. No, definitely. I actually recently have been trying to make more like conscious decisions about brands I'm supporting when I purchase stuff from places, and I'm trying to shop more locally and stuff like that too. And this just reiterates why I'm doing that, because I don't want to give my money to shitty people who think that they're allowed to be doing what they're doing. And when I see someone like bullying someone or shaming them for a choice they made, especially that long ago, like that just, it's not someone I want to give my money to.
Yeah, just not at all right. Especially when, Preston, he does not do the porn anymore. He owned up to it.
Well, what do you mean owned up to it? Because, like, why do you have to own up to porn? What's so wrong with it if you do porn?
Well, that's a good point. He didn't, he basically acknowledged it. He acknowledged it in a video, and he didn't try to deny or pretend it was somebody else or something. He said, yes, this is what I used to do in the bedroom. This was my relationship with the persons I was performing it. And he, to his credit, that's what he was into,
what was he doing? What is this like? What are they shaming? Is it just porn? Just regular?
No, it wasn't just, their point is that he was involved in cuckold porn, they call it.
Oh.
So there's one specific video he did. Yeah, Liam's show was fun last night. There's one specific video he did that I've seen over and over again, is that he was acting with another porno actress who was not his wife, but they were acting out that they invited a man, African-American man, over to their home, and the African-American man, and this is important because it plays into their narrative, came into their house and had sex with Preston's wife, who turned out to be an actress. And, Preston is in the video holding their hair back and stuff. And apparently to them, that's like the ultimate embarrassment on the internet. And to me, you know what, whatever people do in these videos, whatever acting they want to do, it's not really a particular judgment of mine to make, not my cup of tea either. But, I don't think any less of him for however he gets his rocks off in the bedroom. Run away, Becca. Run away. Gotham Knight says you had an awesome point.
Thank you. I definitely, now knowing that, I think I am even more upset with this umbrella dude.
And he's not the only one. He's not the only one that's been doing this. It's been a whole there's been a whole like network of people.
That's pretty disgusting. Like, why? What? I would like to know, like, if they've ever done anything kinky in the bedroom, and if they haven't, why? And like, why is it so wrong for him to enjoy something that might seem taboo?
Right.
Like, it's his sex life. If he wants to do something like that and that's what gets him off, like, let him.
Yeah, so you don't really care what content he was making.
As long as it doesn't involve children, I am not against any type of sex work or porn. Yeah.
Do you think it's right that critics and people he's competing with professionally found this stuff and used it to insult and humiliate him and turn it into a point of business at all?
I think that what they did was like really wrong, obviously, but I think the way he reacts to it, he could even like get some fame off of it if he reacts correctly to being bullied.
Yeah. Have you ever had your own experience with bullying that you would be comfortable sharing with us?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, do you want to talk a bit about your own personal experience with this?
Sure. In high school, I was actually raped, drugged and date raped, and I was a virgin. And I've worked past it all. It's been many, many years, so I'm not like looking for pity or anything. But the guys who did it went around school and like told everyone that they had fucked me, and
Wow.
everyone called me a slut and a whore and said that I had like a threesome with 2 guys and that it was like all my fault and that I could have prevented it or whatever. And it like ruined my life to the point that I had to like be homeschooled because I was just the slut of the school, and it was terrible. It's like, I do not stand for bullying, especially sexual. Like, stay out of people's sex lives.
Yeah, so this almost hits home to you in a way from what you're telling me, and thank you for thank you for sharing that with us. We got some sympathy coming out for you already, bastards. Sorry to hear that. Yeah.
It sucks. It's actually like very common, and you know, people don't think twice like about what someone could be going through or what the situation is like before they like say or do something like that. It's evil.
So
it's like no empathy from Umbrella Dude.
Umbrella Dude, yeah. There's it's not just the Umbrella Dude. It seems to be a whole network of people that have just turned this into, the most ultimate humiliation of things.
Well, I can totally feel with that then, because like, yeah, it was multiple people in high school spreading rumors and stuff. So I could only I know what it feels like to get like ganged up on like that, especially over something that it's like I wasn't doing anything wrong and you're making me feel like something is wrong by bullying me.
Yeah, and these people, that's the thing. Like, I think this all could have been solved. Everyone would look a lot better saying, okay, that's what he was into. So what?
Yeah.
Are we all so much better? If I could show everyone in the chat right now, if I could show your history of internet searches, would you guys like me to do that?
Exactly. Everyone has their kinks. Everyone has what gets them off. Like, you can't use that against people in an argument. It doesn't make them less of a person just because they're kinky. If anything, it makes you more of a person.
Yeah. MK Geiger says, exactly. My daughter's been dealing with bullying, not sexual based, but just generally. We had to move her to homeschooling as well, and she had a therapist for a time. Wow. Yeah. It's, do you think there's anything you could do to your tormentors, so to speak, that would justify them using your incident years later to insult and humiliate you?
I've never confronted them. I basically just ignored everyone from high school after I graduated. I moved towns. I just built a new life for myself, and then ended up like dealing with all of that repressed trauma later on. But I wouldn't, now where I'm at, I wouldn't want to do anything to like get revenge. I just want to move past it. And I did.
Yeah. So no matter what kind of argument you got into somebody with in the future, you would never go to them and say, hey, I have a video of you doing some questionable things. And if you don't do this, if you don't leave me alone, I'm going to put it out there, even if you hated that person.
No, I wouldn't do that. Also, it would be a waste of my time. Like, I have too much going on in my life to like just attack someone from my past from so many years ago that like I've moved on to a different part of my life.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't be worth it.
Yeah.
Maybe if like in the moment while I was really angry about it, like the first year it happened or something, maybe if someone sent me a video like that, I would have like gotten revenge. But even if I did do that later on in life, I would have recognized that that was the wrong thing, and I would have ended up feeling bad about it.
So would you say all this stuff that's going on, all this comic book nonsense, and keep in mind we're bringing it back. This is all over selling comic books. Do you think? Yeah, it's kind of silly, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Tell me for a while, and I'd bring this stuff up here and there, and I've recently had a little bit of attention on my YouTube channel that I just started. You want to jump into any kind of indie comic books that we're selling here, both sides?
Do I want to jump into the comic book world? I mean,
you want to buy some indie comic books with me?
Sure, I'll try it. First time for everything.
Yeah. Well, it's HG says smart girl. Yeah. It's I'll play you another clip right here. I kind of introduced you. I kind of introduced you to this. His name is Mike Oxmall. I showed you the clip the other day. We had a good laugh over it. Of course, I was being accused of being him, but I'll show you guys video that is proving it's not me. So I'll just play this real quick. This is the umbrella guy, by the way.
Hey there. You want professionalism from me? Fuck that. If you want a bad guy, I'll be your bad guy too. The only thing they will respond to is abject humiliation. People need to grab their fucking knees, bend over, and fucking just take it. Just take it.
Mute this man. Baz, Becca is a friend of mine. She's somewhat familiar with comic books, but I'm just now introducing her to everything that's been going on in the little sphere lately. So we're just kind of getting the outsider's perspective this morning. What do you think of that he's talking to? This is the umbrella guy again. He's saying, you want professionalism from me? Fuck no. This is, I'm going to humiliate people that are critical of me. Do you feel that's appropriate or the right move to make? How does that make you feel? And this is one of the main antagonizers of Preston.
I feel like he has a major lack of empathy, and I feel like he maybe has some of his own problems. And
this is the guy whose wife allegedly sends dick pictures to people and catfishes them.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like he's focusing on other people a lot more rather than his own brands. And
he's not selling his comic book to you doing this.
No.
Yeah, it's pretty low class, honestly. It's kind of sad. Obviously you've had your history with this kind of thing with people using let me ask you this. Would you call this revenge porn in your opinion?
I mean, yeah, because he's using it as is he using it as revenge? Did Preston do anything?
Preston's been critical of the group formerly known as comicsgate for a better part of a year, maybe a little bit more than that.
He's been critical of it, but did he ever pull anything like this, like public humiliation or
not to my
defaming or anything?
No. The one thing they've been critical of is there was somebody that created a comic book called Stealing Solo, and I believe Preston. And there's a lot of problems with Stealing Solo, but I believe that what they've hit him on is that he reported or he got a hold of Harrison Ford's public representatives, and he passed this comic book up to them because Harrison Ford in this comic book with no license depicted Harrison Ford's likeness, and they also depicted killing the man. So he contacted Harrison Ford's reps and just let them know about it, and they were saying, "Oh, this is the worst thing that anyone's ever done to any comic books." Whether you agree with that or not, that if the project had merit and it was hunky dory, what's wrong with letting Harrison Ford know about it? Yeah. Let's see. Preston's only provided commentary on their business practices and behavior. I agree with that, and he's been a harsh critic, and I think we all need harsh critics at some point. This is Preston right here. Nicky Racket's brought into the whole "you try to ruin a man's livelihood" argument. I don't agree that Preston did that. I don't agree with Nicky Racket's at all. Let me get this off the screen. We'll come back to that later. This is This has been kind
if
of a
Preston only ever commented on their business practices and behavior, then this is completely out of line.
completely out of line.
Involving like someone's personal life, let alone something that like that personal, their sex life, that's like a whole new level of like you know that this Mr. Umbrella guy was thinking about what he was going to do before he started that video. Like he prepared for it. He had time to like consider it and be like, should I be doing this? And he still did it. And I'm assuming that the whole reason like you're having this show is because like he didn't own up to it, right? The Umbrella guy. Like, does he still think he's in the right?
He was the Umbrella guy parroted this thing around as a justification. He said, "Oh, you reported it to Harrison Ford's reps, and therefore, you deserve to have a week's worth laugh fest at Preston's expense."
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is like he hasn't apologized or said that he did anything wrong.
Right.
He's trying to say that like what he did was justifiable. That's insane.
It's insane.
That's insane.
Yeah. Well, so he's not the only one. There's also a guy named Ethan Van Sciver that I've been personally beefing with, and he should get his tattoo altered or removed. And they were doing hours-long streams just humiliating the man. Do you know what a super chat is?
No.
Okay, so there's these comments that come through on any YouTube chat, right? People who make money on YouTube, they get monetized. So somebody could, for example, pay $2 to say about 50 characters worth of stuff, and they will, they'll pay money to talk to me or whoever's on the screen. And they had, I can't imagine how much money they actually made, but people were paying money just to have their own joke at Preston's expense during these streams. They were making fun of them. People were paying money to join into that. Do you feel like that's reflective of the community in any way?
I feel like that is disgusting. And I know I'm smiling right now. I'm not laughing at them making jokes about him. I'm laughing at how pathetic people are to pay to insult someone.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that in my life.
It is kind of ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's well, okay. So let's go one step further. During the show, people outside of the show created songs mocking him. The whole song. I can't remember what the song was called. I can't remember the lyrics, but basically it was making fun of the stuff he was doing in his porno. And these guys got the video of this little song somebody went through the trouble of making, and they played it to much laughter and much derision. Do you feel like making a song making fun of somebody's porn is also disgusting? Like I don't know, just unload on me.
I think it is, but also at the same time, I completely support sex work and porn and that industry, but I do think that there are pros and cons about every industry that you get into, and one of the cons about sex work and porn is that you're going to receive a lot of backlash and hate for it. And so I understand to a certain extent why people would make fun of something like that. I don't think it's right. I don't think people should, but I do think it is to be expected being in that type of industry. But there is a certain line, and like when it gets to the point of blatant hate, which is what it sounds like it's at now, that is just like when it needs to get shut down. That's way too much. And it also doesn't make any sense, I guess, because it was a really long time ago for him. Mm-hmm. You said like 10 years, and it was
around there.
It was a completely different decade in his life, and he was a completely different person. Like, people change, and if he doesn't want to be known as that person anymore, like, he can try, but he still did it, you know?
Yeah.
You have to live with the decisions that you have made. And if you did make a decision to be filmed like cuckolding someone, then you have to live with it. I mean, you're gonna get some hate, but this amount is the disgusting part, and the people like ganging up on him is gross.
Spending money to insult him for
Yeah.
a cheap laugh. People aren't actually. There's an interesting discussion on copyright issues and stuff. So yeah, that's like the really skinny of it. I think Preston. Anytime I talk about this stuff, Preston's always welcome to come on and explain his side. I hate doing a one-sided thing. Becca, would you mind if I brought him in? I think he has some stuff to say. Maybe you guys can, maybe he can ask an outsider like yourself some questions if you don't mind. He's a
sure.
really pleasant gentleman.
Yeah, bring him on.
Yeah, let's talk to him. So Preston, I'm going to send you the link right now. If you want to jump on, we'd love to have you. If not, feel free to, we can do it another time. And let me get some other stuff going on here. Yeah, so Preston, the link's in there. We got some discussion on if the stealing solo move was right or wrong. And I think that's an interesting point because whether it was right or wrong, do you feel like digging into this guy's past and bringing out his porno he'd moved on from is appropriate? Like, do you think that is it a matter of right or wrong at this point?
It's more of just a matter of like, has the power gotten to your head and why are you doing this? Yeah,
the audience, there's so much going on. So while we're waiting, I'm going to play a video for you guys. We'll take a little break from the seriousness of this stuff. And if you guys are familiar with Michael Oxball, there's a guy that's been going by the name of Seven for a while. And we got 22 people watching us this morning. Nice little audience. Thank you guys for being here. And we'll talk about the stealing solo thing, but so Michael Oxball, I was accused. Gotham, you calm down over there, all right? I was accused of being Michael Oxball, and this guy Seven that's been in the community for a while just recently put out this video taking credit for it. So I'm going to play this in just a second.
Mike Oxball, and you may know me from my appearance on Liam Gray's channel recently. I've understood that since coming into your community, it's been shocking to hear my voice. You might have previously known me as Seven. I just wanted to say that I did used to go by Seven, but I had to speak up, and this is my real name. And I am not Mecca McCheese or anyone else. I simply have decided to come this way to speak out on something I love very much.
So there you guys go. Obviously, that's not me. That's a creepy video, honestly. I mean, I'm kind of blown away, Who is this guy? Who is Mike Oxball? Hikaru, I don't know what you're looking for, honestly. Yeah, give Seven or Michael Oxball a follow if you would. Cheyenne, I don't know what this link is. What is this link? It's fine. You can post whatever you want, Cheyenne. Good people. So we got some little bit of discussion. Rumble Terrier says, "Mute this man. Mute this man."
That was
so
funny.
I sent Preston the link. See if he gets in here relatively soon. So what else you got going on with you? You dipping your toes into this YouTube game? You got a blog or Instagram or anything you want to promote?
I started a blog. It was a travel blog, and then the pandemic happened, and I kind of took a hiatus from it, but I finished the website for it, and I think I might try rebranding it and re-releasing it after this is all over and I can actually travel again.
Yeah, not much traveling going on. Have you done some traveling in your time?
Yeah.
And obviously I know you have, but let's tell the audience a little bit about some of the most interesting places you've been.
I went to Thailand as my first international trip. That was super awesome and really scary. I went by myself, and it was very spontaneous. But I just felt like I had to do it, and I had been asking people to go with me for so long, and I was tired of waiting for them. So I ended up just going, and I spent 2 weeks there and had the best time of my life.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite travel experience.
Yeah. What's next on your bucket list or travel list or whatever it is going to be called?
I really want to try and make it to New York for Christmas and New Year this year.
Really?
Depending on obviously the circumstances of the virus, but that's always been something on my bucket list, and
Yeah.
I want to try and make that happen this year.
With all the pandemic stuff going on?
Well, hopefully it's over by then. If not, I'll keep waiting.
Yeah. And yeah, okay. Preston's here. We're gonna bring him on.
Sweet.
Becca, this is the man we've been talking about with the porno history, and we'll get his little thing and introduce you guys. So Preston, thanks for being here. How are you this morning?
Hey, thank you. I really appreciate your support in all this.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you feel about
and special thanks to Mike Oxmall, whoever he is.
Yeah, that's quite a character, isn't he?
Yeah.
So what did you think of me and Becca talk so far this morning? Anything stand up to you?
It's been great. I did have when you were like, we're gonna review the tugs. I'm like, I just dipped out there for a bit.
Yeah. I apologize for having to show.
Oh no, that's quite all right. It's quite all right. It's people need to see it, and I'm sure people are curious to see it. Yeah. But I mean, what I did was for a specific audience who received it, and like it helped make other people feel better about who they were and what they wanted. And some people may argue that in and of itself is bad, and I understand. But again, I think it was made for one specific community. And that is kind of the weird thing about, go back to Beck's discussion about like sex work or whatever, is that, it'd be one thing if you do one career and then another career and then another career, or you dip in and you do a little bit of something. But sex work is one of those things that just for having done it, people will try and ruin you in like another career. And I don't think that's fair.
Even if you weren't antagonistic to them.
Right. And, I remember like there have been porn actresses who go into like commercial real estate or real estate, and then like people find out and they just freak out. I'm like, dude, she's just selling a house.
I know.
Yeah.
Like if she was able to sell her body, why can't she sell a house?
Yeah. Like what's the problem? I don't understand why it's an issue. But they want to treat sex workers as pariahs. And I mean, look, another thing that they've attacked is, I come from a somewhat privileged background. So there are certainly more privileged people out there than I am. But, look, I've came from a background that's reasonably well off. So, like I don't need the paycheck. As I tell people, like, look, I could stop making comic books tomorrow and just sit and, play video games all day. And, if live out the rest of my life if I really wanted to. But I don't. And, I try and provide things that people will like, or that are of value, or that make a statement. And so my exposure to the kink shaming or the hatred of the sex work history is not to sit here and go, I have it so bad, but that I think I now have a better appreciation for the horrible things these people go through. And I'm here to say it's not right.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It's just like any other industry. It's
right.
Work. And yeah, like you said, it's not fair that you guys try to start a new path in your lives somewhere.
Right.
And that has to carry with you, while other people's industry careers from past lives don't carry with them with any
Right.
repercussions. But for some reason, like the way that sex work is viewed as, oh, they did something wrong. Well, was it wrong when you were tugging your little wiener to some porn the other night? Like,
was
that wrong?
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah, if you want to criticize Preston, I encourage you to let's get you on camera. Let's find out what gets you off. Let's talk about that openly.
Sure.
Seriously, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And there's something else that I've said before, but is worth repeating, and that's to people in sex work or in like the kink community or whatever, like the things that just happen to me in comic books is completely abhorrent. So, like, say what you want to about those people, they do have moral lines that they will not cross, and
within the community.
Yeah, within that community, and you just absolutely viciously broke one of them. For no good reason.
Well, I think at this point they just don't like you.
They just don't like me. Exactly. Yeah. And
they're also trying to like justify why they're not a bad person when in reality they would look like a better person if they would just own up to it and apologize and say they were wrong because they were wrong.
Right. And, Ethan's crew, complete with Tug and what, that's what they've been doing for a while, is they've been giving excuses for poor behavior. That's really been the whole foundation of, Ethan's comicsgate, is we're going to behave poorly about people, but it's okay because Brie Larson is an evil feminist who's in alliance with the SJWs in Hollywood to destroy American culture. So it's okay that we, rail all this hatred towards her and try and dehumanize her. That's perfectly fine. And then there'll be another target, next week. It runs as a hate group, and it's just got different targets, and it's always a justification for why it's okay to hate these people. So,
there's a lot of hatred going on, I think.
Yeah,
it's kind of disgusting. Did you have any clips you wanted to share for further emphasis, Preston? Share your screen, maybe.
I sent you the folder. Honestly, I have it.
There's so much in there.
There's a ton in, but there is a guide that I sent you the guides. So I have a special thanks to Dean. Yeah, special thanks to Dean. And honestly, look, I haven't been able to go through this stuff. I've instead been having other people, and I really appreciate what they do, go through it for me, and then come back and give me summaries. They said this here, they said this here, they said this here, and I'm like, thank you, because I haven't even been able to do it.
I could read some of these comments out.
Yeah, and then if anybody wants to see it, then we have the clip that we can specifically play.
Yeah, you can DM me. We can talk about it. Let's see.
Well, I DM'd you like the whole Dropbox folder. Yeah. So if any of the those clips have numbers by them that are timestamps on stuff, and if anybody's like, I want to see that, or I don't believe that. Okay, I mean, let's go to the clip.
So just take this as like various things that were said on these live streams, and this is the most efficient way we can go through it. Cecil makes a joke about Preston's last name being Mr. P in my mouth. Mm-hmm. EVS explains that he suggests Preston would have not have messed with comicsgate, but now it's too late, and we're going to continue to humiliate him.
Going back to Becca's to see, there it is right there. It's, if you hadn't messed with us, none of this would have happened.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah, and if you want, we can play that clip, because that's an interesting motivation to examine.
Let's see. EVS says police have not and will not contact him. He says he will show police his knees over his ears and other crude acts, as if that's for the justification. Mm-hmm. Somebody said he ruined Christmas. You'll think of ejaculation denial. Let's see. Just a tip for Preston. EVS talks about how Yellow Flash and that Umbrella guy live streamed the videos, a still frame. Cecil, his problem is his dad never spanked him. Can you give him a lifetime of spankings? Let's see. Talking about Vicky's live streams, EVS says a guy pulled out a telescope, and EVS says, is that going up Preston's ass? Let's see. EVS states that it was good that you didn't go on Ricada's stream. They were going to beat your ass. EVS says,
I thought, I'm going to beat their ass.
I thought Nick and I were just going to have a friendly talk about fetish. I thought that's what we were going to. Oh, maybe not. Oh.
Yeah, you were invited on this guy, Ricada, and the pitch for you coming onto their stream was they just wanted to talk about fetish and kink in general. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this wasn't like a let's go over your side of this whole controversy. This was supposed to be let's just have a nice general light discussion about, kink and fetish. Like, no, that's not what he wanted.
Yeah. Is Mr. Dongs here? You dropped this king. Let's see. Yeah. Bigfoot Bill. Promote Bigfoot Bill. Yeah.
There you go.
Let's see. And how do you feel about this allegation that this justification that your ex-wife was relevant to this discussion and further humiliation because they accused you of psychologically abusing her?
Well, we went over where that came from yesterday.
Yeah, and I'm bringing this up to
Yeah.
you know, give Becca a little perspective on this.
Right. So, and if anything, I think this. All right. Well, I'm going through a divorce with the woman who I made those videos with.
Yep.
And I was in touch with Ethan earlier, like August of last year, about his pattern of abusing people, particularly his fans. But he likes to set up a power dynamic where he's the celebrity or he's the expert, and you're kind of coming to him for his approval.
Is Ethan the umbrella guy?
No,
Two separate people.
Yeah,
but
two
different.
separate people. Yeah. But they work together.
Okay.
And
They
and
promote
they,
together.
yeah, and they both share the same hate mob and very much have kind of the same mentality about it. They will use lies that they feed to people in order to excuse the horrible things that they do. And so they cover for each other in that regard. And they both tend to do the comic book grift by way of outrage marketing. So it's like the umbrella guy has a new comic book to promote, so let's go pick a bunch of fights and scream victim. That's all he does.
Yeah, let's see. Here's another quote. Yellow Flash joking and says things like, "He'll never let this down. They're ruined. And who's going to follow a effing cuck?" Obviously referring to you.
Oh yeah.
Let's see.
So their intent was clearly to ruin me, and that and you know, again, since this has happened, I've gained followers, I've gained subscribers, I've gained customers. So I think their prediction that this will ruin him, like, I don't think so. Now, Tug, by the way, he loves to proclaim. He is absolutely the quintessential Ethan and company hypocrite, in that he will viciously attack people, but then at the same time pro-clutch when other people are doing anything, even anywhere in the neighborhood. So there were people who were, there's a guy named Peter Samedi who makes comic books, and he had a claim in February of last year that he was swatted, meaning like that someone made a bogus call. In fact, Peter Samedi went into great detail that someone made a bogus call to his local police station claiming to be him and saying that he was suicidal and about to kill his wife or something, and that the cops came, you know, like basically storming down and pointed guns at his chest, and that he almost died, kind of thing. Yes. And so lately, a couple of people have been like asking questions about, like, did that really happen? And, you know, contacting the local police department and asking Peter, you know, essentially for receipts, because this was supposed to happen on a live stream. And that umbrella guy came to the defense of Peter Samedi and goes, they're trying to stress out poor Peter in an attempt to get him to kill himself. I'm like,
right.
If that's where your mind goes when you're making these comments, like he's never going to live this down and he's finished, where do you think you guys are going?
Right. You know, that's something I brought up on a couple streams ago.
Yeah.
The porn star, former porn star, August Ames. Becca, you ever heard of her?
No.
August Ames was somebody, she had a bit of a controversy come her way, and she faced a lot of criticism on Twitter because she didn't want to have sex with crossover performers. That is, men who performed in both gay and straight porn. So, you know, when you're doing sex work, you know, that's obviously a concern due to, you know, STDs testing and all that stuff. Anyway, she faced such a backlash on Twitter that maybe days after all that stuff happened, she ended up killing herself. And that was the first thing on my mind, is like, what is all this abuse towards Preston? What is all this, you know, nonsense other than to humiliate the man and to, you know, antagonize him in such ways to cause him harm?
And it's flat out wrong. The idea that you're never going to live this down, you're finished. Like, really? Because I made kind of comic books that are oriented towards a more adult, somewhat kink-friendly audience before. I don't think what you just did really damaged my credibility with them.
Yeah. It's no reflection of your comic book work, I think.
Yeah, you know, and you know, like, now maybe you damaged my reputation with some people, but honestly, like, the people you would think my reputation would be damaged with would be like, you know, Christians. And honestly, you know, they have, you know, like Doug Knaple has really come to my defense and all this, and I really appreciate it. Yeah. And I really appreciate Doug's perspective, which is like, look, as far as I'm concerned, there is one way that God designated for boys and girls to get together. And if you're not doing that, then all of you people are equally wrong, in my humble opinion. So I find the idea of you pointing to Preston and shaming him to be absurd. So, you know,
Do you agree with that, Becca?
What?
Do you agree with what Preston was just saying?
Yeah, it's very hypocritical.
And that's their whole point of.
It's like the same thing that Preston, you were also saying earlier, is like, or maybe it was you, Mecca, I don't know, but you were saying, I'd like to see one of them come on a show and talk about like their kinks and what gets them off in the bedroom, because if they're willing to like blast you so publicly, like why don't they share what they're into? And if they're supposedly vanilla, which is like fine, and maybe they're not into anything kinky, then let us shame you for that and see how you feel, because either way, like you can always be shamed for something. It doesn't mean you should be.
And the other weird thing that, you know, like you have, but like these guys have been completely, you know, celebrating sexual, you know, deviance on like a daily basis.
Yeah, Becca, that's referring to, remember when I showed you the dildo memes my face ended up on?
Yes.
Yes. It's pretty absurd, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's for another show, perhaps. Eric Hawkins says, why are you exposing Becca to the horror that is indie comic? She will never be able to look at an innocent comic again. Well, that's why we brought her on. We, you know, Becca's obviously pretty tough in her own right. She's had her own struggles with this subject. And, you know, she's not afraid to come out here and, you know, see what's going on in our little part of the pond. Lorenzo Sleestack says, what they did to Preston is why we have hate crimes laws.
Exactly.
And HG says, Becca, if you ever become a comic book fan, what kind of comic book stories would you write? If
probably romance. I don't know if that's a thing, but I actually do write a little, and I like to write poetry. And I saw someone in here talk crap about someone who's been trying to write a book for 3 years, and that's also kind of me. So
I have some stories you might like.
Cool. We'll showcase your latest stuff recently, press. Let's see. Imagine the proportions of such things overselling comic books. Yeah, it's kind of why we're here, Furious. Phobic Zeno says new narratives, Preston faking the humiliation to reconcile with his wife. I don't think that's fair.
And that's always the thing, is that they will never allow you an ounce of victimization. They have to monopolize that. Tug always has to go, I'm the victim here. They smashed my mailbox. You went after Peter Samedi. You're trying to get him to commit suicide. They're always the victim. And then when they clearly do things that are way over the line, intentionally, as they put it, to subject me to abject humiliation, I can't even go, you know, I think that's fucked up. They're like, well, he's just trying to get back with his wife now. Or you know, and like, you know, I put out a video where I discuss, like, all right, you guys want to know, you guys want me to talk about the kink shit, I'm going to talk about the kink shit. So I talked about all of it, including, you know, that my earliest sexual experiences happened when I was 5. They were inappropriate. I was repeatedly being molested as a child. And they're like, now you're just playing victim. I'm like, it happened, you know?
Yeah.
I don't get to, you won't even give me that. Yes.
I know.
That was an interesting angle to me, that you would share that experience and people would dismiss it or not, you know, consider it when attacking you so much. You think that's fair, Becca? That's that angle specifically?
No, I don't think really attacking anyone is fair. I think
for any reason.
Yeah, I think everyone has their flaws. Everyone does wrong things, and like everyone has things that they can be judged for, including the people that are judging Preston. And I doubt that they would want that shit to come to light.
Yeah, it's kind of sad to me. You know, Preston, I've done my best to, you know, come out here and, you know, maybe I'm clout chasing a little bit, trying to get my own platform up and running. But
that's the way it works.
Yeah, you know,
better to clout chase over a righteous cause.
Yeah.
Than to, you know, sit here and do what they do, which is to look at like, oh, what's trending lately? Amber Heard, how dare she victimize Johnny Depp, and you know, sit here and make these videos in an effort to protect Johnny Depp, as if Johnny Depp either A, needed your help, or B, has any idea who you are. You know, like you're just out shaming Amber Heard and championing Johnny Depp because you think that's what's going to get you views. In this case, we have firsthand knowledge of things that are going wrong, that are incorrect, you know, that are over the line, that are unjust, and in my opinion, criminal. And I think it's right for us to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah.
I think more people should be talking about it, honestly. There are things that make people uncomfortable that they don't want to talk about or confront, but the more that they ignore it, like the more it's just going to continue happening, and the more people, the more followers that are going to think that it's okay and follow along with it and agree with him. And if people don't stand up and disagree with him and start a different following, like he won't stop.
Yeah.
He probably won't stop until it ruins his brand or is on potential of ruining his brand. He'll keep this going for as long as he can until he's literally not making money anymore. And he has to become a new person or apologize or whatever so that he can save his like livelihood or his brand.
All while trying to destroy Preston's brand and livelihood.
Yeah, little does he know he's already ruined it. Like you already did the things and you're still not apologizing. So it's not looking very good for him.
Do you think Preston's owed a bit of an apology?
Absolutely. I think you're owed an apology, Preston, by multiple people.
Let's see here. And you know, one of the other criticisms that comes up, and I'll show you, I'll share my screen unless you want me to show something else, Preston.
Oh, and also, can I add, you deserve a public apology, like a public live stream, not some bullshit message that they send you.
Yeah.
Because if they can publicly humiliate you, they can humiliate themselves by apologizing.
Right.
And Eric Hawkins says, romance seems to be popular on Webtoon. Don't give up. It took me 5 years to get my first solo book done last year. Now I've done 4 books since. And I believe that's directed towards you, Becca.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. So already you got people interested in what you might be up to. So this is White Lily 4. Is this your latest, Preston? You have so much
I think this is 5.
Number 5?
Yeah, latest number 5. I can actually take you through number 5. Now,
there's not. You want to share your screen? I'm a little clumsy with this. And you have so many projects going on right now. I think I'd do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Let me grab my.
Let me get your screen. So Preston publishes a lot of indie comic books. They're not to everyone's taste, I guess you could say, but he's got the most, I guess you could say, different stuff going on. It's not just superheroes stopping bank robbers. You know.
It's not. So
yeah, it's a little more refined than that, and hopefully we'll take this to a positive note, because this has been heavy stuff. You know, Becca, I don't think you shared in detail with me your own past, and I thank you for doing that. That's not something easy to share. And
I like talking about it because, like I said, people are terrified of talking about things that make them uncomfortable, and they believe that this stuff isn't common and it doesn't happen often. And I am here to tell people that it does. So I don't mind sharing it.
Yeah. So what's your main social media outreach going to be? Are you going to do this YouTube stuff, vlog a bit? Is there somewhere we could follow you after the interview?
I would say probably just my Instagram or maybe my YouTube channel. I mean, I don't upload anything on my YouTube channel as of right now. I'm also in between a big move right now the next couple weeks, so I'm not really going to be very active anywhere. I might come on and, talk on some streams with you, but I don't have anything solid yet except maybe an Instagram.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if you end up doing stuff, and if you guys want to follow Becca, she's always going to be welcome on my channel. You know, we've had a personal relationship for years, and I'll keep you guys updated. Feel free to ask about her, and when she has something come out, I will go ahead and promote her for that. And we'll get your Instagram and the link and stuff like that too. So if you guys want to follow her and spread the word on that. Let's see here. Ethan came out with Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld and Sylvester. I'm surprised he never ran to Top Cower Image. That's interesting. You don't see Rob Liefeld going on streams making fun of Preston. You don't see Jim Lee doing that. These guys are actual, businessmen. Let's see.
So here,
I think making I will. What's that, Preston?
I did a screen share. There we go.
There you go. All right. So what is this?
So this is White Lily issue 4. So this is what is up on. Can you see it? Is it big enough? I can probably.
Yeah. Give me a 1 if it looks good. Yeah, we know that's a dog. Yeah, that's Marley. That's a good boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone needs Jesus, even if you don't believe, though. Just try it. Yeah. So this is White Lily. Becca, the pitch for this is it's kind of a historical take on comic books.
It is. All right, hold on. I'm gonna stop sharing this one, and then I'm gonna download it because I think I'll have more control of that way. It won't have all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was the story of the deadliest female fighter pilot who ever lived,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and some people have been. I've caught a little flack, even from people who are kind of in my corner, because all right. So one, I don't know if you were aware, Becca, but during World War II, the Soviet Union actually used female fighter pilots. So that is absolutely true, and a lot of people that I talk to at conventions and stuff were not even aware of that. I'm like, yeah, no, that's true. It did happen. And 2 of them became ace fighter pilots by each shooting down 5 enemy planes. So I tell the story of the only 2 women to ever earn the title of ace in all world history.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And is that a subject that'd be interesting to you, Becca, at all?
I don't know a lot about it, but I'll definitely comment on it.
So now I'm going to share from the app, and I think this should be a better sharing experience. There we go. Is that better? Is it bigger?
Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, there we go. Looks good. Okay. So this is issue.
Preston, before we just go any further, you have a writer stream.
I do have a writer stream this evening.
Yeah. Becca, if you're interested in promoting your writing and stuff, I know you said you're a bit of a writer. Preston does a stream solely focused on writing. Maybe we could hook you guys up and do that sometime.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, so Preston, this is White Lily 4 or 5.
Yeah, this is 4. Right there. This is issue 4 right now, which you can pick up on Indiegogo. And this is the one that has the logo on it. So this is the main cover. Also on Indiegogo, I printed up 100 virgin covers, which don't have the logo or the name or anything.
Just the artwork, right?
Yeah, and you just get that cover of her lighting the cigarette. And she is a fighter pilot, and so this is her plane here in the background. Yeah. And when I initially put it out, people were thinking this was, or kind of comparing it to like Harley Quinn or something, and that she had destroyed something and was now kind of celebrating by lighting her cigarette in the flames. But as we go over it, you see that actually the image has a little bit of a different purpose. So here we are. This is the briefing. This is at the Battle of Stalingrad, and there was a time towards the end of the Battle of Stalingrad where the German Sixth Army was in the city and had been cut off by the Soviet forces who had surrounded them. And the Germans elected to try to airlift a support and supplies to the German Sixth Army, which ultimately failed. But I thought this would be interesting to look at from the air. So here they are being assigned in like a briefing room to take out these transport planes. And here is Lilia, who historically was very much in a relationship with this man, her wingman, Alexei Solomatin. They flew together and they were engaged to be married. And, she really loved him. And fraternizing with each other was against the rules. But at the same time, everybody, discipline was kind of lax there on the Eastern Front, particularly in the Red Army, because people were like, we're all going to die anyway. Like the casualty rates were so high that nobody was sitting around and enforcing the rules. Like, you two shouldn't be holding hands. So, so that's, I have them here in the briefing holding hands. And, here's the captain, saying, hey, these 2 women made ace fighter pilot, and everyone's clapping for them. And then he's given the briefing, and then we go out and we have this fighter battle here.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thanks.
You didn't film that for on a indie budget.
No, that's one of the things I love about comic books. Is you get to tell big epic stories. So so here's Lilia and her wingman, who is her her boyfriend and commanding officer, and they're going after this German transport plane, which people are like, is that a B-17? I'm like, that is not a B-17. That is a German Focke-Wulf 200, which was the very first plane to fly nonstop from Berlin to New York. It was an airliner that got repurposed during the war. It didn't make a particularly good transport plane because it didn't have a lot of armor and stuff because it was designed to be an airliner. But I thought, hey, here's a cool chance to put a plane into comic books that no one even know exists. So this is a Focke-Wulf 200, and so they're coming in. And Lilia gets the kill while Alexei has to veer off. And then when she looks over, she sees, Alexei has been found by the bad guys, and he he ends up going into a spin, and then he crashes and dies right in front of her. Which
Oh, wow.
that happened. He did crash and die right in front of her. And she wrote to her mother, "It was then that I knew I really loved him."
Oh.
And
yeah, so this is all well researched and stuff. Do you have anything from Guinevere?
sure. Yeah, hold on.
Sure. So Becca, we're showing you this, and this is a more positive look at comics and stuff like that. Like, did you look at any of the stuff Preston was just showing us and think to yourself, but he starred in porn and I don't want anything to do with him? Any judgment on that?
No,
Yeah. Kind of sad, isn't it?
it is.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing to me that we've gotten to this point, and I'm really glad that we could have like an outsider's perspective, and maybe all of us can back up a bit. Yeah. And when you're writing, Becca, you're mostly going to be focused on your travels and non-fictional stuff. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is Guinevere and the
Divinity Factory, issue 1.
Yeah.
So this is
more comic booky, you might think.
This is more comic booky. Yes, I wrote this to be more along the lines of like superhero comic book stuff. But as I tell people, I'm like, at the same time, it's me who's writing it. So they're going to be. You're going to keep taking these turns into these dark, unexpectedly dark directions, because life is kind of unexpectedly dark. Like, look what just happened to me. I didn't expect that. I never in a million years. Like, I honestly thought better of Ethan and company than to do that. I really thought better of them. But here we are. So, this redhead is based on a real woman named Julie. She is an actress and model. She's married. She's Christian with her husband. And I met her doing my very first Comic-Con as a vendor, which was Wizard World Austin back in, I want to say I was like 16 or 17. Yeah, I think it was like late 2016. But I met her and I liked her, and I wanted to give her a break, so I made her the basis of the Guinevere character.
Yeah.
And I recently got back in touch with her, and when I do the launch for Guinevere issue 3 on Kickstarter, she's going to be on the stream with me. So that'll be neat. You'll get to talk to Julie. So, but here she is. So she's entering what is going to be revealed to be the Gatsby Mansion. I didn't call it that here in issue 1 because Gatsby was not in public domain yet.
Yeah.
Because I do respect IP law. See, but Gatsby, it will be in public domain by January of next year. So by the time issue 4 is out, it will be revealed that this is in fact the Gatsby Mansion, and that person is in fact Gatsby. But here I'm kind of skirting around that issue. But she's entering into this wild party, and we've got these. My instruction to the to the penciler was, I want every car here to be worth $1 million. Some of them because they're modern, high-performance sports cars, and others because they're antiques. And the idea that we are kind of showing that we're doing a modern take on the old classic, 1920s Gatsby-esque party.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this might be more your speed. I've actually voiced one of these characters, Viviax, on stream.
There you go.
Really good. I did really good on that.
You did really good.
Preston does this thing where he brings people who's writing projects and stuff like that. Preston, would you ever host Becca for some of her nonfiction stuff, or is it just?
I mean, what I want when people come on is that I want what you're presenting to be in either screenplay or comic book script format.
Yeah.
And even then, I'll sometimes relax that rule a bit, because Doug Garrett's like, I just really start with the panels and the dialogue. That's how I start my story. I'm like, if that's what you got to present, I guess bring it on. But really, writers, that is how we write. Is we write in either screenplay or comic book format. And so, if you want to bring on a story and talk about it, I'm all ears. So here we go. She is entering this party. And there's a man who is taking notice of her, and this is something I do that I really love to do in comic books, which is, all right. So we have the sexy woman climbs the stairs, and by the way, this is our wizard right here. He is observing her because as we kind of analyze the story. She's here in search of him because she wants to. She understands that he's a powerful wizard, and that he runs kind of this, this group of wizards, and she is just a novice in the world of magic, and so she wants to get his, acknowledgement and approval and instruction. So she's here to seek him out, and he understands that. And so this is part of the trial, is watching her navigate this party. So he's observing her as she's kind of going about her trying to find him, basically. But here we have, like, beautiful woman climbs the stairs. And I will do this in comics, particularly with Guinevere, because one of the things she does is she has special influence over minds. And a lot of times it will be a man's mind, because I think I like playing into what we can all acknowledge, and that's that beautiful women just have a way of influencing men. So here we have her climbing the stairs, but I'm showing this is a point of view shot, really, which is we're seeing her through his eyes. So that's why she's, kind of overly sexualized, is because this is what he is focusing on. He's like, oh my God, that ass is amazing. I got to get me some of that. And so then, at the next page, he's there at the top of the stairs, like, hey, what's going on? All that kind of stuff. And, and she's basically saying that, she's looking for, Francis Gatz, which was the name I gave him here in issue 1. And he's like, I could help you find him. And so they journey into the party. And, there's all this crazy magical stuff going on. There's this woman flying down the staircase.